Okay, so this should be the last video in this project, I suppose. So we're just going to make some of the models that we've got on the top here. We're not going to bother with the grass, okay, at this stage anyway, because that's going to be a bit more advanced than we want to be at in terms of the purpose of the tutorials. So we're just going to make some of the bits up here. Some of them you'll be able to do independently by now, but we're going to start off with this little book here. So it should be fairly straightforward. Let's create a box. Yeah, and I can tell that's already the wrong scale, but you know, I can always scale it down to what I need. So that's fine for now, and then convert to an editable poly. It's going to be nice and quick. All we need to do is need to get the insets and extrusions to make it look like there's a cover and pages. So on those three, inset them about there, should we say? That's fine. And then you want to extrude them in. Remember, that's if I extrude, look, that's going to go outwards like that. So we need to change this to local, and then it'll go inwards like that. Okay, so that looks a bit more book-like. And we can see that this one's kind of a bit more rounded at the edges. So get these two edges. We might have a bit of an issue here because, yeah, so if we try to chamfer that too far, you see it's all going to like crumple up around there. So what we might need to do is we'll do it again because we're going to have to do that chamfering before we do those insets. So let's try it one more time. Let's make the size of the book again. That'll be fine. Okay, and what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to get those two edges and I'm going to do the chamfering first. So chamfer there. Make sure those lines, those edges don't overlap. That's when you get clipping and things going wrong. Let's just put them close together and then add a couple more edges so that's all rounded off the side. Now we'll go and get our three polygons there and do our insetting that we did earlier on. About there. Looks great. Then we can do our extrude, change it to local again, and in. To about there. And there's kind of a book model. That looks okay. So I can just move it into position on top of my crate. Obviously that's like ginormous right now. So scale it down. That looks a bit better. Yeah. Does that look to scale? Maybe. Kind of, obviously you kind of use things as a reference there. Imagine like that's a shield, that's the size of a shield. Imagine a person holding that shield. Is that book the right kind of size? I think so. Maybe a little bit big. That should be about right. Let's use our other views to make sure that's sitting on the surface. Great. Okay. I like to have everything the same color for now because I'm weird, but you might want to have yours all different colors. We'll get to texturing at another point, but that's fine. Obviously, this one's got a symbol on. I won't do the symbol because, you know, we made symbols over here on the shield, so you kind of know how to do that. You use the line tools to make what you want, and then you can place that on top. So that's fine for the book. The coins, they're going to be super easy, to be honest. It's just going to be a cylinder. I use auto grid, so it makes it on the surface already. Don't need any height segments, literally just a cylinder. Convert it to an editable poly, do an inset on top, Yeah, and then extrude down a bit. Oop. There you go, 1 coin. And then obviously you can duplicate those. Make this scales a bit off. I'll make it a bit kind of chunkier and then a bit smaller. Okay, yeah, and then you can just duplicate those as you need. So hold Shift and drag. Remember the difference between copy and instance. So I would suggest using an instance for this, because if it's an instance, if I edit either of them, so if I grabbed whatever, edited it, see it's happening to both of them. So that's the effect of an instance. So if you ever wanted to modify the coins, and you've already got loads of them, if they're instanced, then they'll all change at the same time, which is really useful. So you can put you there, another one up here somewhere. Doesn't need to be exactly like the picture, I suppose. And then duplicate another one upwards. Slightly off like that. That'll do. So that's kind of your coins. The lantern I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna leave that for you to do, because that's literally going to be a case of probably starting with a box, let's be honest, and using extrude and bevel. Pretty sure that's all you're going to need here. Just extruding, beveling for the angled bits. And then at the top, remember when we worked with line tools, like we did the shapes, you'd use a line tool, or a 2D shape to make that ring there. These things are going to be a bit of a different story. You could start with a cylinder and sort of bevel your way around, but it's going to look it's going to be difficult to get that nice round curve. So I'll show you how to do that a bit easier. So what we're going to do to make that is we're actually going to start with a line. Turn that auto grid back off, and I'm going to use the top view. And what I'm going to do, start in a blank space, is I'm going to draw half of the sort of side of that shape from, imagine you're looking down, looking sort of side on. If I do it might be a bit clearer. So it might look a bit rubbish at first, but then we can edit it later. So it's kind of look at inwards, and it's got the kind of ledge, and then it'll be kind of a bit more rounded like that, and then to there, and then right click when you're finished. Okay, obviously it looks a bit rubbish. Doesn't matter. Go to edit over here, go to vertex, and then you can see I can see the individual ones. So at this point, you can change them around a bit to be a bit more how you like it, but it's not rounded. So to round these off, you need to select whichever one you want, right click it, and you have these options here. So I'm just going to change it to smooth. Bezier and Bezier corner are, you can play around with those, but I'm going to change it to smooth. I'll see that's now nice and curved. Same with that one, smooth. Yeah, probably wants to be straight because it's going to be flat on the bottom. So we want that one to stay straight. It can take some tweaking, but that's about right. That should be about fine. It's probably going to need more tweaking a bit later as well. But so I've modeled like half of that shape, right? Okay, that'll become clearer in a minute, because what we're going to do with this line, I'm going to add on a modifier. So click on this list here and add the modifier called lathe, L-A-T-H-E. Click that, and you'll see it kind of goes a bit funky. I'm going to go to my perspective view so I can see what's happened. So it's kind of created a 3D shape from that 2D line that I just created, but the axes of the lathe needs to be in the middle of the shape. So I'm going to move that across. You can see what's happening here. Okay. Let's look at my top view. So if I go too far, it's going to be really chunky, but somewhere about there I'll be okay. Generally you can tell what's going on by the bit at the bottom there. There you go. See, if you go too far, it opens up. You want it to be just like that. Right. Great. So that's kind of a kind of bottle shape. It's a bit kind of weird at the top piece. So what you can always do is this little test tube. If you let's go back to vertex here. That test tube, you can tick it on and off to see what's kind of happening. So I might be like, well, actually, maybe I do want to use a Bezier. Now, Beziers have these kind of little handles that you can use. Now, honestly, this stuff takes some getting used to. I'm not really perfect at it myself by any means. But then you can kind of see that's being a bit more rounded now. This still take a lot of tweaking. So mine might not be perfect by the end. But that's fine for now. Okay. Once you're happy, you can just convert it to an editable poly. I'm not going to for now. I'm just going to move it into place. So let's rotate that 90 degrees. It's obviously way too big. So scale the whole thing right down. So it'll sit on here nicely. Again, use your view so it's sitting on it. Whoops. Perspective. Oh, what's going on here? Right. So yeah, there's your bottle. Again, mine doesn't look perfect. It definitely needs some tweaking, but like I said, that can take some time to get it right. And then I've just got a cork in the top of it. I'm just going to make that from a cylinder. So go to cylinder. Use auto grid, so I can just make it up here. There we go. Again, what I'm going to do is just move the cylinder into where it's going to be, and then I can scale it to fit that. So radius needs to be quite high. Around about there will be fine. That's kind of it really. Convert to an editable poly if you want. Maybe we can get that top row of edges and maybe just chamfer it around a bit. So it's not quite so angular. Okay. And there you go. Alright. Scale might be a bit off. Get those two together. Scale it down. Oh, it looked a bit big. And there you go. Okay, again you can duplicate those. Do a copy this time. Okay, so that's about it for this model. There's some things that are missing. So you've got the lantern, obviously the other crate and some other bits and pieces. So from what you've learned from doing that, you should yourself be able to add things in, customize it how you want to do it. Okay.